And welcome everybody to Chalk Talk. I'm your host, Kim Davis. Thank you guys for, whoops, did I just turn off the audio? No, I don't think I did. Thank you for hanging in there and joining me on this Tuesday afternoon. It has been a very busy sports day, and Texas Southern University has introduced formally their new head football coach. Wanted to be sure that we brought that to you, so didn't want to. If we were on at our regular time this morning, we would have missed being over to see Chris Dishman be introduced as the new head football coach at Texas Southern University. So excited to be able to be a part of that. You will be able to hear from him across all of the platforms and also see some pretty cool video of Prairie View A&M football coach Bubba McDowell, who is, of course, now they're rivals, but they're longtime friends and former teammates. He was there this morning, which tells you about how special their relationship is. But I know most of you, many of you, if you follow this program, even those of you who are tuning in from other markets, you want to hear from those Houston Texans. What an amazing season they had. Lost a tough game against the Ravens in Baltimore this past Saturday in the divisional playoff round. The Ravens have, of course, advanced to the AFC Championship, where they will play host to the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions. But this week, we're going to talk about the Houston Texans and let you hear from some of them. Head coach DeMeco Ryans and the Pro Football Writers Association Offensive Rookie of the Year, CJ Stroud, and Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson Jr., and the overall NFL Rookie of the Year, also CJ Stroud. So the first of many awards to come for him, and also I'm sure for Will Anderson Jr., not just this season, but as their careers continue to advance. And nothing short of exciting. I've heard from many of you already wanting to know, like, what are they going to do next year, Kim? I mean, the season just ended, right? So they're going to take a breath, take a breather, which is well-deserved because it's pretty much nonstop from, I don't know, maybe about a month from now for the front office and the coaching staff through like right now. You know, they're looking at who they have, who's injured. You know, the support staff is working with guys who may be injured and who are trying to, rehab. And then, of course, the scouting staff, Nick and his team is, they're looking at, available free agents and looking at pre-draft analysis, and as will head coach DeMeco Ryans and the coaching staff. And then, of course, talking about the coaching staff. Many of you know, because some of you have been hitting me up, that people are looking at the Texans coaching staff, the assistants. They're looking at offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. Is he the guy to come and coach this team or that team? Oh, and by the way, Gerard Johnson, the quarterbacks coach, has gotten some interest in terms of being a potential offensive coordinator for a couple of teams. The Browns and the Saints in particular have reached out. So, that's what happens, as Coach Ryan said, when you do well, when your team has success, when you have a good staff, people are interested in perhaps, plucking from your staff. If nobody ever wants the people on your staff, it doesn't mean your staff isn't good, but it does mean something. It does kind of say, okay, you know what, we got the right guys, because in year one, right, of this coaching staff with a lot of young coaches, people are already looking and saying, people around the league that know football, not just fans, are saying, hey, they're doing something special in Houston. And that's what we're going to talk about in this show today. Something special happening in Houston that happened throughout the season. Of course, everybody would like for this Texans team, if you're a Texans fan, to continue to be playing. It would be amazing to talk about them being in the Texans' first ever AFC Championship game. But I think we all knew it was an uphill battle going against the Ravens in Baltimore. The Texans would have had to do everything right last week. And the Ravens would have had to, have some shortcomings, and those things didn't happen. The Texans didn't do everything right. The Texans, where there were some shortcomings, the Ravens made some adjustments. They went in at halftime. Lamar Jackson said, hey, we need to do X, Y, Z. And they made those adjustments, and he came out and he was Lamar Jackson. So congratulations to Lamar and the Ravens. And now that the Texans are no longer in the hunt, I am pulling for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to win it all. I would like for him to to quiet the critics who somehow think that he can't win in postseason or his style of play is not good enough. So I'm looking forward to him winning what should be an exciting game against Mahomes and the Chiefs on this weekend, and then advancing to the Super Bowl and also winning in Las Vegas. With that said, let's let you hear from some of your Houston Texans. But first, let's hear from some of the people that help us do this show throughout the year. Our good friends over at I Love Jinka. Listen, it is a product that we've talked about. It's been around for, 8 years now. It is a turmeric paste. And I was sharing this with someone last week. It's not just turmeric that you go and buy off the shelf. You can go buy it, and I'm going to show you where you can get it. It's a special turmeric. It's a special combination that helps to reduce inflammation, and it helps with circulation, and it helps with a lot of things that ail people, aches and pains. People have experienced relief from high blood pressure and higher cholesterol. They've seen improvement from things like gout and joint pain. It is something that is made with a high grade of turmeric, and it's roots and herbs, Himalayan salt, and a high grade of cinnamon, and alkaline water, and it is good for you. And all the things that are in it, you can pronounce them and you'll know exactly what they are. You can get it at ilovejinka.com. My good friends, the founders, Kim and LJ Williams, have produced this product. They started it where you bought it as a paste. You can still get it as a paste, and you put it in smoothies or your apple juice or your coffee or your almond milk, however you'd like to consume it. You can also get it as a vegan capsule. You can get it online at ilovejinka.com, and it is sold in HEB stores. If you happen to be in Texas and you're near an HEB store, this is where you can find it.
Here at HEB in the Healthy Living Department of Probiotics, you can find Jinka 7 days a week.
Yeah. Look at a Jinka sale. Look at that. Jinka.
And of course, it's that time of year where you're probably looking for, it's still January, and many of you are doing your whole New Year's resolutions thing. If you are a follower of Chalk Talk, I'm going to say that you don't just do New Year's resolutions. You just, you make some small changes in your lifestyle. So maybe you're saying, you know what? I'm going to have some healthier snacks. That's what I'm going to do. Well, you need Kimmy treats in your life. You can get them at my website at kimmytreats.com, or you can go to Sunshine's Vegetarian Deli over on Old Spanish Trail. If you're near the medical center, it's right on OST between, how about I mute that phone? On Old Spanish Trail between 288 and Alameda. You can go in and pick it up. There'll be some fresh batch of everything there tomorrow. But there's the Kimmy treats, there are Kimmy bars, there's the Kimmy corn, and I believe they still do have some of the body butter. Here's what you can look for. And of course, if you're not in Houston, you can get it online at the website. So as I mentioned to open the show, CJ Stroud has gotten his first postseason award, named by the Pro Football Writers Association as the offensive rookie of the year, and also just the NFL rookie of the year. They're saying there's no rookie in the league they think is better than him, that has performed better than him this past season. And of course, those of us who cover him or just have seen him could not agree more. He did not know this when we talked with him about this on yesterday, but we talked to him about a number of things. He's gracious as always, as most of the players in that locker room are. And we asked him things like, what are you going to do in the off season, and just about some of the other players. Here's him talking about his off season and how he's going to handle it.
for first, I'm gonna relax, man. Just take some time off. I've been going hard since I've been like 12 years old. Like AAU tournaments, baseball, football, 7-on-7, high school. Like just a ton of like just sports being played. And man, it's been a blessing, been a ball, and it's like I'm 22 years old, and this is my first time ever having like freedom. Like from away from school, away from college. And so I'm excited, but at the same time, like, just like I'm ready to relax, I'm ready to get back to work too. But I know, like, I have to, like, take some time to myself, it's just the right thing to do. So, doing that for a little bit, getting back rolling, with my workouts, strength and conditioning, getting stronger, bigger, faster, getting back with my guys in LA, just working out with them on the quarterback stuff and OTAs and stuff like that.
He just wants a break, right? And I believe he's earned that. He said he's 22, still young, but he's been grinding since he's been 12 years old. Like, that's a lot. So good for him. He is about to get a well-deserved break. The grind will probably continue a little bit because he will no doubt spend some time at the Super Bowl, probably doing a ton of media, getting some of the awards, being recognized, being honored, and then hopefully get a chance to take a little bit of a vacation. He certainly has earned that. Now here is head coach DeMeco Ryans talking about CJ, just as he sits back when he's asked to evaluate CJ in just the season that CJ Stroud had. Here's DeMeco.
Yeah, CJ's throughout the entire year. What I love most about it is the growth. Right? You talk about from where we started in our first game of the season and how he grew, right, as a player, as a leader with our team. Like, it's encouraging when you have a young guy who's able to grow, not only as the entire season, but to see him grow and take the coaching points and grow from week to week and see a guy improve so quickly. Like, it's encouraging to see how much better he can get as he continues to play throughout the league. But that's one thing I'm all about is growth. And the more we grow and the better we become, right, the better our chances are of winning a ton of football games.
Winning a ton of football games. This team won 10 games this season, 10 regular season games. And so I was on the show at Channel 11 the other night. We talked about, looking ahead to next season, right? There's a lot that's going to happen between now and the start of next season. But just as we sit here right now today, what feels like the number of wins that would be, enough? Not enough that they should just stop there, but enough that you feel like, okay, yeah, they win this many regular season games. It's an improvement on this year because now there's going to be expectations. There weren't a lot of expectations from fans. I'm not talking about from the team itself and the coaching staff and in that building, but outside in terms of what this team would be this season. So the number, what's the expectation for next year? Maybe it's 12. I jokingly said 17, but don't worry, coach, I pull that back. Maybe it's 12, but they've got tough opponents. They've got a tough schedule. They're playing 9 games on the road and 8 at home because it was the other way around this year. And they will undoubtedly have some nationally televised games just because of how they performed and how exciting they are, how exciting they were, and how many people want to follow this team. So yeah, it should be fun. CJ also talked about what it takes for him to get to be the best, right? Because he's not done. He didn't get to be the best rookie and want to just stop there. But what does he think it takes, and what does he think he needs to do to continue to grow and improve?
Yeah, I gotta do way more. I gotta just be me. At the end of the day, I look back at it like I can say a whole bunch of cool stuff up here that'll make everybody go crazy, but I just gotta be myself. And just work hard at that. And just really do everything that God put in my heart to do. And I'm just super thankful for God, man, and Christ for really just having a rookie year like I had, and to be able to be mentioned with a whole bunch of greats and be playing against greats, you know what I'm saying? So it's been just a blessing, and really my plan is just I want to be the best. I don't want to just be the best rookie, the best second-year dude. I want to be the best, point-blank period. So I'm excited to get going with that, and yeah.
He also talked about Will Anderson Jr., who I told you also to start the show, has been named by the Pro Football Writers Association the defensive rookie of the year, right? So you got these two rookies that have come in, both drafted in the first round. CJ with the second overall pick, Will with the third overall pick. Both were very productive and positive. And here's CJ talking about Will Anderson
I
Jr.
mean, I appreciated Will for doing that, because I mean those are raw emotions. It wasn't like he was doing that like just to be fake. He really meant, because I mean he really like was feeling that because he really wanted to win that game. We all did. And something I've learned in this league, man, is like you can't let your emotions fluctuate. And I told Will, man, honestly, man, he's probably the most talented player, one of the most talented players I've ever been around in my life. I mean, we're gonna be back in this moment. You can promise, I can promise you that. Like, it might not. I don't know when it's gonna be, how it's gonna be, who's gonna be on this team, but we're gonna get back. And I just want to let him know, man. Like, I appreciated everything that he did for us that year. I just wanted to see his head up high. I just want to see him encouraged and positive.
And one of the things, if you've at all heard CJ Stroud throughout the year, he has made, he's been very upfront and honest and confident about his faith, and very clear about that being really the root, the foundation of everything that he does. He talks all the time about his faith being his purpose and football being his passion and his platform. And so I asked him about that, how it feels that, how it felt being able to just be himself, being able to talk about who he is, talk about his faith, and to be, not just comfortable and confident with it, but also to really be embraced with sharing and being who he is. And this is how he responded.
It's amazing. It's a blessing. One of my best friends back home, his name is Barron, and he always talks about your passion is greedy, but your purpose is for others. And that's something that he hit me with that, like my junior year in college. And since that moment, I'm like, man, like that's how I want to live my life. I want to be at service, you know what I mean? And I've gotten a lot of great people who have reached out, and even guys after games, like who are, who just talk about like how I mentioned God and Christ and things like that. And I always tell people it's not me, you know what I'm saying? It's him. Like, it's nothing I can do to ever repay what the Lord has done in my life, and I don't want to. I just want to act in what he's called me to do, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every day, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I know the God that I serve is a forgiving and graceful God, and I can just appreciate that. And even like Coach Harbaugh, even saying that after they beat us, like you can just see like there's a lot of us out here too that love the Lord, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I appreciate everybody who reaches out, and I'm not doing it to look cool or whatever. I'm doing it because that's what God called me to do.
So we can talk ad nauseum about CJ Stroud and him as a football player, and him as a young man, and it's just refreshing. And I also like the fact that he always reminds us, hey, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes pretty much every day. I'm human. He said something yesterday about, hey, listen, I make mistakes too. I'm human. I'm just this guy that plays football sometimes on TV. And we all kind of chuckle because he doesn't want you to put him on a pedestal, right? He's just really comfortable and clear about who he is. And if he can impact somebody else, he wants to do that. I think that's super cool. One last CJ Stroud bite before I let you hear from more from Coach Ryans and also Will Anderson Jr. He talked about his relationship with his mother, and it was pretty cool because, in the game against the Ravens, ESPN actually showed her quite a bit, and he said that's really not something that she likes, but he talked about his relationship with his mom.
Man, you talk about like just genuine love. She texted me something yesterday. She was like, I don't say I love you just to say it. Like, I say it because I truly, like, you've been one of the best things ever in my life. And I was like, wow, like for her to like say something like that, it's like, it's just like my mom is amazing. She's been with me through thick and thin. We've been through a whole lot. And she's never ever like questioned my goals or my plan. And she always like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a very independent person. She always let me be independent and like figure it out. But at the same time, I always knew if I ever needed something, I can call my mom. And I'm just super blessed to have a mother like I do. Blessed enough to have a father like I do. My brothers, my sisters, my family back home. And I'm just really, you know what I'm saying, I just, all in all, man, I'm just super blessed to be where God wants me to be, you know what I'm saying? So I love my mom, and I know they said she got a lot of camera time, so I don't think she was super happy about that, but you can see how much she prayed about me. She love her son, and I love her right back. She love all her kids, man, and I love her so much.
I thought that was pretty cool. He said she got a lot of camera time. I don't think she didn't really like that, but yeah. And it's interesting, people say, "Oh man, she's praying for the win." I think she's praying for is him to be safe and for him to be healthy. Listen, CJ Stroud is clearly the leader of this team. Head coach DeMeco Ryans talked all season about how the growth of CJ, and late in the season when they talked about getting to the playoffs, and then when they're in the playoffs, he made it very clear all of this is about the team and everybody being unselfish, but that it's the leadership of CJ, that they're not there without the leadership of CJ Stroud. So think about this. For the first time in a few years, this Texans franchise is not going into the offseason trying to figure out who the coach is, right? For the last 3 seasons, they've been having a coaching search and trying to figure out who's going to be the quarterback. Well, they've got their coach, right? DeMeco Ryans. They've got an amazing head coach. They've got their quarterback in CJ Stroud. And they've got some other pieces, but they are going to have to continue to work on the roster. We know the roster is going to turn over and change. It's just the nature of the business. They've got some free agents they've got to make some decisions on. There's some they may not be able to keep, but we talked with head coach DeMeco Ryans about, how much all of the changes throughout the season with the roster has prepared him for, the roster changes that are clearly ahead. And here's him talking about, the impending roster changes.
Yeah, this season there's a lot of changes that occurred throughout the year. You talk about players just up and down. A lot of guys are in and out of the lineup. So just get used to being in this position. Things are going to change, right? And being able to be flexible and understand that happens. And under my leadership, whatever happens, it's my responsibility is to find the right people. And for me, I always come back to the people. If you find the right people that can lead, that are willing to help with a servant mindset, servant leadership mindset, like we find the right people, that's all that matters.
So when I hear him talk about that, I kind of chuckled when I saw this kind of banter going back and forth online with some family members of Cowboy players. I'm sorry, not fans. CeeDee Lamb's mom talking about Dak Prescott, and then Michael Parsons' brother talking about Dak Prescott. It was just a lot. And then Michael Parsons having to say, "Hey, listen, I speak for me, nobody else does." I was like, what a mess. And then someone said, "Oh yeah, CeeDee Lamb, this is all in a conversation, should come play for Houston." And CeeDee's mom said, "Oh yeah, that'd be great because CJ Stroud's amazing." I'm paraphrasing, and because Dak isn't it. And I'm thinking, yeah, no, that's that energy. He can play, but that is not what makes this team go, right? This team, when DeMeco and the players talk about the culture, and no knock on any of them and what they got going on up in 545 North, but you got family members online blasting the quarterback, whatever you think about him, there's no way that can be successful. I mean, that's just, that is not the recipe for culture building, for a winning locker room, for a winning franchise. That is straight drama and a hot mess. And I imagine that is not anything that this Texans organization wants to mix in with the group. It came to mind when I listened to so many of the guys, right? And I'll let you hear from them throughout the week. I had a chance to talk with Tank Dell and, Blake Cashman and, Sheldon Rankins and just different players. Steve Sims, who of course ran had the special teams touchdown, and just a lot of different guys on this team that we had a chance to talk to before they head out for the off season, which before you know it, they'll be back in OTAs. There'll be guys who never really leave the building because they'll be getting treatment, they'll be working out, because this really is a year-round job. But yeah, that's not really successful. And here is, head coach D'Amico Ryans really talking about just the season overall and what he thought about how they finished up and really what's ahead.
Right. I feel good about our season and what we were able to accomplish. So I told our guys today, just be proud of what we were able to do. This league is a year-to-year business, right? And just always embrace the moments that you have with the people that you're around, because as we know, right, teams change, right, staffs change, a lot of change happens on a year-to-year basis. So just embrace that, right, live in the now, but really be proud of what we were able to accomplish this year. Moving into, the future and next year, we like where we are with the young nucleus of guys that we have. I feel like we have a good group to build off of, and we still have to add more pieces. You're always adding and always looking to acquire talent and get better, and that's where we'll look to spend our off season, right? Who can we find to help us, get better?
And Will Anderson Jr. Talked about just how much he's looking forward to next year, how much he's grown as a man, and how much more he has to grow as a player. Like he says, I got to get better at pass rushing. I got to get better, with the run. But I've got people in the building that have been super helping me grow. He talked about the room. When you hear him talk about the room, he's talking about the position room. So the other defensive linemen, the coach, the assistant coach, the quality control guys. I mean, everybody that has been a part of the process, they've had some super, their support staff, they all seem to be kind of in lockstep about how to move forward and how they got through this season. Like, is it perfect every day? Well, you have a family. It probably isn't, but they were able to build a culture, build a system and a process that seemed to work, where guys look forward to coming to work, right? Where guys were like, man, this is over, because they know things are going to change and there's a good chance that they won't be with many of the players they were with this year. And that's what's going to be different. That's one of the things that's different about, for rookies, that's different about college. Here's Will Anderson Jr. just talking about this season.
Yeah, I'll start with the team first, man. Bro, special group, special group, man. It was very emotional. And it's so different from college, man, because all I keep hearing is this group not going to be the same. It's going to be a different team next year. And it's just like you form these bonds with these guys and the togetherness of the team, and you get to know why people play football, what's their reason, like how they operate, everything like that. And then just off the field, building those bonds, it's just hard. You know what I'm saying? I wish everybody could come back, man. But, bro, the success that we had this year is just a testament to everybody in this building, from the locker room to the training staff to nutritionists to Coach Ryans, Nick, Cal, all the guys that play a part. And this last season that we just had, man, so it's just a special team, man. And then for me, man, it's never being satisfied, always room for improvement. But, I am proud of some of the things I did, the growth, the maturity, learning different ways to play the game of ball, learning from great vets like Rank, Jerry Hughes, JG, all those guys in the room, Coach Jock, Coach Rod. Just got to give a big shout out to the whole D-line, always, the whole room, the coaches, like.
So that's Will Anderson Jr. really talking about the season, talking about the room, the coaches, what he needs to do personally. And, there'll probably be some changes. Will Jonathan Grenard be back? I'm sure there's not a person associated with this organization that doesn't want him back. However, he's a free agent, and his game has really gone to another level, which means he's due a big payday. Will he get that from this Houston Texans organization? Don't know. I've had some conversations with people now. Yeah, they've got money. They've got, I think their cap number is $68 million. They've got a few people they've got to take care of. And with a guy like Grenard, one of the things that works is you take care of those guys before they before they become a free agent, because then the number gets really high, and you might not be able to afford him. He's done everything he could to earn the payday, right? And so I just hope that he gets it with the Texans. It'd be great if he gets to come back with the Texans. I don't know if he will or not. I have no idea. I didn't get a chance to talk with him yet. Saw him in passing, but didn't get a chance to interview him yesterday. And, there's probably a thought that maybe he doesn't make it back just because the number will be high. He has earned it. He has earned the right to get a big payday, and it may be with another franchise. So wishing him all the best. And perhaps somehow it becomes with this Houston Texans organization. Nico Collins is, after his third season, it's like, okay, you guys should probably go ahead and extend him. What are you going to do with the Blake Cashman? What are you going to do in terms of free agent? Who are you going to bring in? There's some positions you got to come and shore up. And then, of course, you have the draft that's coming up. There's a lot of decisions to be made about players and what you do with them. And I'll be curious to see how they handle it, how they navigate that. But you heard Will mention, Jonathan Grenard is one of the guys who's been super helpful to him. And CJ talked about a guy like Jonathan Grenard, who talked to him after that first game when they played the Ravens, the game 1 of the season. He walked over to him in the locker room and said, hey, dude, hold your head up. This is one game. We're going to get there. I'm paraphrasing, but basically he said from day one that Jonathan was always supportive and encouraging him. And that's what he was around the entire team, not even just with defensive players, but he was that sort of an influence. So they all would love to see him back. I'm sure the coaches would, undoubtedly D'Amico would, but we'll see what happens. Will Anderson also talked about how he has grown as a man. Somebody asked him, how have you grown this season as a man? We talked a little bit about what he needed to do as a football player, but how he's grown as a man. And here is Will Anderson talking about that growth.
Honestly, I would just say my faith, just getting closer to God. I know I talked to y'all after the Jets game, whatever like that, and the Titans game, and it's so many people I want to give a shout out to, but Dylan, our player personnel guy, and Coach Rod, our assistant D-line coach, those two guys have been such a blessing in my life and helping me grow as a man off the field and helping me be closer to God and understanding his word and knowing how special he is and how much grace and mercy that he has over our lives. And man, it's so crazy that the way God works and the way that, God will bring people in your life to help you go closer to him and put you in situations to know that I always got my hand on you. And that's just one area in my life where as a man, I feel like I've really taken that next step. It's trials and tribulations in this type of game. People always say you got to please this person. No, only person I got to please is God. That's the only person I need approval from is God. And, I think that's just one step of many of just keep becoming a better man and keep becoming a better player.
You hear that a lot with this organization. And it turns out to be how some of them are wired. Or maybe it's because they have they feel comfortable being able to express their faith, to talk about it in a way that is, confidently, and I think good for them, because it's positive. And if that's your foundation and that is the thing that gives you the motivation and the confidence and the love and the courage and all the things you need to move forward, and you're able to step in and walk in that truth and be authentic about it, I think that's awesome. And so that there's an environment for those young men to be themselves is, I think, super, super cool. Will also was asked about head coach D'Amico Ryans and whether or not Coach Ryans has exceeded his expectations as a coach this year. And he said, more than exceeded his expectations. And then he went on to say this.
I don't usually rank all the head coaches I've ever had. But, man, he showed up there, I tell you, bro. He might be number one, bro. Over Coach Saban, dog. Bro, but like, but no, man, he's just a great dude. He's a really great dude, and I tell people all the time. He say, "How Coach Ryan?" I said, "Bro, honestly, bro, like, I view him as a coach, but I also view him as a player. Like, I view him still as like he's just a captain on the team sometimes because that's the way he approaches us. Like, he approaches us like he still is playing the game, and I think that's why it's so easy for all of us to like comprehend and understand like how he operates and what he wants to get done because he commands that type of excellence and expectation and standard through everybody throughout the whole organization. And I mean, when you have a head, and he's like he can coach you. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows, like he's been in the league. He knows, and he knows how to coach. And that's another thing that I respect about him, man. Like the way he cares about his players, the way he loves his players. He wants it so bad. He just gives all that love and energy into his players. And I know it just makes us want to keep playing for him.
So also Jenny Ward, who you didn't hear from today, but you will hear from later this week, talked about Coach Ryan, who of course knows him from working with him previously. And he put in his plug for Coach Ryan being Coach of the Year. When I was over at the press conference today for Chris Dishman, talking with Richard Johnson, who was a former NFL player, and Bubba McDowell, both former players. Bubba's now coaching, of course, at Prairie View. He was there to support Chris Dishman, the new head football coach at Texas Southern. And, the question was, hey, isn't D'Amico, he should be the coach of the year, right? And I was like, well, I think so, but I don't get a vote. So, we'll see when that award is named. I think maybe the Texans get a clean sweep, and Coach Ryan's gets that award. I know that what's probably most important to all of those men is that they would continue to improve, that they would, if they could have still been playing, right? But I think what they did in this first year, which sets the foundation of something that they can build on, is super amazing. On the other hand, Coach Ryan now gets a little bit of a break, if you want to call it that, because remember last year when in his offseason, he came to Houston and had to hit the ground running. His team got to the NFC Championship game. He was the defensive coordinator of the 49ers. They lost that game to the Eagles, who went on to compete in the Super Bowl. He came here, was named head coach of the Texans, I believe, on February 1st or 2nd. And it was full speed ahead because there was a lot of work to do. Well, season's over now. There's still a lot of work to do, but got to take a breather and get a little bit of a break. And it comes at a perfect time for him because he has another responsibility he needs to prepare for. Here is Coach Ryan's talking about being able to spend some time with his family, especially right now.
Family is the most important thing. So for me to get an opportunity to get a break, I don't know if I get a break. My wife is we expect this. My wife is due here in a couple of weeks, so I'm on baby watch. So man, the stress level doesn't stop for me. Here we are again, all right? New season. But no, very thankful for my family always and their support and seeing them every game, seeing their support, win or lose, seeing those smiles on my kids' face, on my wife's face. It's always uplifting to me. So I'm excited to be able to spend some time with them, go hang out in the car line with everyone else. But it's definitely be a fun time. Thank you for the question.
So when he says the car line, I believe he's talking about the carpool line. And it's interesting because, those are the things that his wife has, been responsible for throughout the season. And whenever he gets a chance, he talks about his wife and how appreciative he is of her support and how her kind of taking the helm of the family throughout the season, throughout the year, allows him to be able to be fully present with this football team and give all that he has, to the organization and those players. And she talked about it, when I got a chance to meet her last year when he was first hired. She said that he does a good job of being as present as he can, and whenever he can spend time and on his way home or keep the kids up, he really tries to be as present and available whenever he can, even throughout the season. So they seem to have a great system. So wishing them a successful delivery with baby Ryans. and that goes well. Like he said, they're on baby watch and you get a due date, but it can happen at any time. And so as much as he still likes to be playing, now he can just focus on family. So good for him. I mentioned to you guys earlier about Chris Dishman being named the new football coach at Texas Southern University. So I wanted to let you hear from him. I don't know if you guys know a lot about Chris Dishman. He is a man of few words. I've actually had him on Chalk Talk previously, and here is him today. And what I can tell you is if it was not clear before, it absolutely is now. We're not going to get a whole lot out of Coach Dishman about what's happening. What he did say is, in terms of Coach Dishman, what kind of offense are you going to run? We're going to score points, and what about defensively? We're going to play smart. So this is just a little clip from Coach Dishman today. Let me do this so that you can see him here.
At TSU with your spirit. To the fans, we need the title roar every game, not just one game, every game. We are going to put a team that competes until the final whistle. We're going to make you very proud of being a TSU alum.
Now that was him. It was kind of his statement. He talked about what fans, what the alum could expect, what the players could expect. One of the things he talked about doing is he wants to make sure that his players are involved in the community. And so he's going to require them to do 24 hours of community service. He says it's one of the things that he is going to personally make sure that they do. He thinks it's important that if we're asking the community, I'm talking about him as the coach, asking the, fans and the community and the alum to support us, then we also, as the student athletes, need to also support them. So, you've heard me talk here on this program about the process that was, in my opinion, flawed because it took a while, but they got to where they needed to, and they finally got a coach. And so they hired the coach today. Kevin Granger, who's the VP of athletics, said this is the result they wanted, and he feels good about it. And now they can move forward, and he's glad it's done, that they took their time to hire the right person. And that's what's most important. So Texas Southern University has their new head football coach. The championship games are set. On the AFC side, it is the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. I think the last thing I saw that the line was about 3 points. The Ravens with about 3-point favorites. In the NFC, it is the Lions who defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. In Detroit, they are traveling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. The 49ers defeated the Packers. And all those games are close. The Texans game, not as much, but I think I have always thought since midway through the season, definitely mid to late part of the season, that the Ravens have the best team in the league. And so the Ravens are, I still think that the 49ers will play host to the Lions. The Niners are favored at home. So you have the Lions and the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, and the Ravens and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game to decide who gets to go to Vegas and play in the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. Trying to decide if we're going to do a Chalk Talk event the weekend before the Super Bowl, not Super Bowl weekend, but that weekend in between, right? So this coming weekend is championship weekend. Then there's the weekend that's kind of the bye weekend, if you will. That weekend. So stay tuned, or during the week, actually. I know how you guys are about your weekend. I've heard from some of you that would like to have a live in-person Chalk Talk event. We haven't done one in a while. Stay tuned. Drop me a note in the chat, whatever platform you're viewing the show on. Let me hear from you. Even if you don't watch the show live, make sure you drop me a note and give me your thoughts. So today was a special time, but I am thinking about moving the time of the show. So if you like the afternoon show, the pre-evening show, let me know. I will go back to 11 for the rest of the month. Well, there's only one more show in this month. But for February, we're going to, it could be a new time for the show. And so I'll let you know what I've got. I'll make a decision by the end of this week. So if you have a thought about the time of Chalk Talk that you would like to see this show so that you can participate live, I would love, love, love to hear from you. And remember, if you've not gotten vaccinated, I'm encouraging you to do that. All right. Get your flu shot, get your COVID shots, do all that kind of good stuff and be healthy. And really, really get you some Jinka. That's what you need. You need some Jinka in your life, and you need some Kimmy treats. So I want to encourage you to do all those things. Hey, thank you guys for being a part of the Chalk Talk tribe. I appreciate it. I love it when I hear from you guys. I appreciate the ongoing support. If you're new to the Chalk Talk family, welcome. This is season 11 of Chalk Talk. We've been doing this show every week for 11 years. We started the 11th season in September. We're halfway through our 11th season and could not do it without you. We did it before streaming was a thing that people even understood. So thank you for being innovators and trendsetters, all right, for being a part of the show. Remember, do something kind for yourself and do something kind for somebody else. Make it a great week, everybody. I'll see you next week on Chalk Talk. In the meantime, follow me across all the platforms. You'll get more updates about Texans. We didn't even talk about the Astros today. Josh Hader, they've got a new closer. We'll talk about that. The Rockets lost to the Celtics last night. Tomorrow night, they're playing the Portland Trail Blazers. I'll be there. I'll bring it to you. Lots and lots of cool stuff going on. Make it a great week. I'll see you soon. Peace.